When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode.
I like how you said, though, your global mission is to be prepared to be ready.
Yeah, always be ready is our mantra, and it comes in different shapes and form. Like that example that I told you, it's like,
right.
Go get the car keys. Why leave them in the room if something happens? Could be as simple as that. It is as simple as being self-reliant.
Self-reliant. Yeah, a lot of people, they're not self-reliant out there. They want everybody to hold their hand these days, and it's like you got to get stuff done. And for those people that are joining us, this is Francisco joining us with 511. He's the CEO of 511 there in Orange County. He is the leader of that great organization that we all know about. If you're in the law enforcement, military community, or even the executive protection training community, you wear their stuff every day, probably their bags for bullets and guns, everything else. And Francisco is leading the charge over there. And this is Mark Ludlow with the Fearless Mindset Podcast. And we wanted to bring on Francisco to celebrate their 20th anniversary of being in business and impacting the world. And as he said, and impacting the globe to be ready for everybody. And I just wanted to give that plug as we hit that 30-minute mark. If some people are just tuning in, we're going to spike this up into a 2-episode podcast. And Francisco, where are you leading 511 now? Where were you leading the charge to? Is there new markets you guys are getting into? I know you want to be ready to support those who use your product.
Yeah, so you can think of our company as at the core, we are obsessed with innovation, and we focus those innovations by looking at the problem sets that military, law enforcement, security, EMTs, firefighters will present on the field. Normally, these problem sets are either mission specific or they happen to be having to carry certain equipment in a certain way. I mean, if you think about it, our athletes, the way that we think about our customers are athletes, right? So these athletes play the only sport that you are on for like 24 hours, right? You're like, if you get deployed in a military unit, it's not like, okay, guys, it's 5:00. Let's change and go home. And, or if you're in a security detail, you could be out all day. So we got to make sure that our products are in support of that mission, that enhance the mission, enable the mission versus getting on the way. So that's at the core. So we're innovating, creating a lot of IP. That's why, as a company, we have a lot of patents. We have a lot of patents on raw materials, on constructions, and a lot of our products, receive patents because this is the first time somebody has figured out how to do a certain things. Then we take those innovations, and sometimes the same exact product translates completely into everyday product. Sometimes it needs a modification. Like, I'll give you an example. This actually was done. We started making pens that look like a pair of jeans because people were like, hey, when I'm doing a certain type of work, I cannot be wearing tactical pants. I need to blend in. I need to have a blazer. I need to have a jacket. But I want to be able to carry spare mags. I want to be able to carry certain other equipment. So we started designing these products that, we ended up putting a pocket within the back seam right where you will naturally train to take a spare magazine. So you didn't need any other type of muscle training or any other type of specific training. These pens allow you to do that. After we did them, people loved them. They got tested on the field. We made some further modifications. And then we said, well, why don't we just make everyday looking denim with that innovation? So we started making everyday looking denim. We put in our stores. and consumers from all walks of life just love them because it's just a great place to put your cell phone. And we all carry a big cell phone today. So even if you're not a person that conceal carries and wants to have some spare magazines, well, we do all carry cell phones. So these jeans in our own stores are one of the best-selling products that we carry. So while the innovation is started at the core, then we are now serving the everyday consumer and also professionals, right? Because the product still gets worn by those that use it on the field or people that conceal carry on an everyday basis. And our job is to bring these innovations to the core and to the everyday consumer. And we do that through different channels. So one channel is our own store. So we have more than 110 stores in the US. We have a couple overseas where you can come and experience the brand head to toe. We also have professional dealers. These professional dealers are people where you will go and procure your equipment. So think about if you needed to get body armor and you needed to get other equipment, you will come there and they have everything that you need, including our equipment as part of the solution. We also have partners like Dick's Sporting Goods that may carry the footwear, or Bass Pro Shop that may have the clothing where everyday consumers will buy the products. And then we have our own direct to consumer website where you can go and buy everything online. Then we also go overseas. Around 1/3 of our business comes from overseas. So we continue to expand in other countries. It's amazing. In some countries, we have outfit the whole national police of a country head to toe. We normally tend to be on the special teams. A lot of products that we make, you will never see them in a catalog.
Interesting.
Because they get specially made for special teams, here in the US or around the world for different needs. Could be a uniform, it could be a bag, it could be a special belt that meets certain load-bearing requirements for carrying different equipment and gear. So that's what we continue to be all about, innovating at the core for those who serve, and then grabbing those innovations that are transferable to an everyday life and bring that to the general public.
Yeah, I got to ask, when you see special teams, I'm thinking in my mind, it's like special forces, police agencies, tactical units overseas. Is that kind of the idea there?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Normally, whether they're coming from the military side or the federal side or the local side of the equation, these are the teams that I like to call, this. If you were a cop and you get in trouble, these are the type of teams that you call. You don't call 911. You call these people to come and bail you out. And I think the common thread among all these teams, they're highly trained individuals that spend most of their time training. And of course, once they're called up on service, these are the utmost professionals. So we tend to spend a lot of time with these type of teams, not only outfitting them, but also learning what are new requirements, how we could improve our own products, and what else to incorporate into our gear.
Well, that's a big market. 1/3 of your company is overseas, supporting other government agencies and their law enforcement stuff, and that's a huge part of your business.
Yeah, it's a big part, and that 1/3 also includes everyday consumers within that service. So we have consumers all over the world that are as passionate about the gear as we have people here in the US. So we're well positioned to continue to grow again in a sustainable way. We're not going anywhere. We want to make sure that our growth is sustainable and healthy.
Yeah, 511 is headquartered in Irvine or Orange County, right? That's kind of where you're headquartered at.
Yeah. So we think of we think of our global footprint. So here in Orange County is our innovation center. We just actually moved to a brand new building, and we designed this building. When I say the building, the space within the building, through a new lens. The lens was, people were going to be located all over the world. So we have offices here that, they have cameras so you can interact with some people, let's say online, like you and I are, and then other people are present. We have prototyping rooms here, so we can take an idea and actually make the product right here in our offices, look at it, see it, test it. We have the ability to do digital designs, so we're able to take something and design it in 3 dimensions and create an avatar, put it on, and see how it fits and interact before we even send it to the field. So that's what we do here. We have marketing and other functions, finance here in our innovation center. Then we have our distribution center, which is in Northern California. That's where the company got started. The distribution center is in Manteca, which is...
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. We have around 400,000 square feet there, and that's the U.S. Distribution center. Then we have offices in Malmö, Sweden, and from there we manage Europe and also the Middle East. We manage it from Dubai. So we have team members sitting in Dubai, and then we have people spread all over that region. We might have one person in a country. In some countries may have 4. But that's the footprint. Then when you go to Asia, we have our offices are in Hong Kong, and also we have set up in Australia. And then we have quick prototyping rooms in the region to be able to manufacture things. And then in Latin America, we manage the whole Latin America region from Mexico. So we have an office in Mexico, and then again, people all over. The same in Canada. We have people all over Canada. So that's kind of the global footprint that continues to grow and expand, while, of course, the U.S. is the largest market in the portfolio.
Wow. U.S., that's a lot of business. I had no idea the U.S. was that big of a business for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the need for products that perform the way that we're talking about, it's a global need, right?
Global, right. And the audience probably doesn't know this about you, but you come from a manufacturing background. You were LLB for a little while, and that's where you got your experiences. That's what developed where you are now. Can you share a little bit about LLB or how that launched you for 511?
Yeah, for sure. So, I was very fortunate. As a kid, I kind of understood what I wanted to be. My dad was a Spanish tailor who had migrated to Venezuela. And eventually, he met my mom, who they both set up a manufacturing business. And my brother and I were fortunate enough that we got to learn the business through my dad. So I knew I loved, making gear. I love the whole design process. And I came to the U.S. with the intention of, learning English, and then realized that you can actually study textiles here in the U.S. So once I did that, I wanted to gain some practical experience, and I was very blessed to have gone to LL because it was such a transformative way of thinking. A company that thinks of the product as having to be high quality. There is no cutting corners. The same way when it comes to serving the consumer, it's a company that holds consumers very, very highly. And one of the values of the company is not to overcharge the consumer. Like the idea is, you might buy something, you might buy a shirt that costs $100. That by no means is inexpensive, but it will be the best $100 shirt that you always buy. The same if you bought one for $10. They're trying to build a product that has a lot of value in it. So there, I was able to learn a lot of, what probably influence a lot of the way that we look at quality and think about quality and consumer experience here at 511.
Back when you shared that, Francisco, I was just thinking about the day I was with my girlfriend, and I used to go to Men's Warehouse to get my suits, right? And she was, Mark, if you're dealing with high-level executives, you need to go get a suit. I'm like, what do you mean by that? We need to do a trip to Nordstrom's. I'm like, well, Men's Warehouse is cheaper. And she goes, you get what you pay for. I'm like, okay. And so, we go to Nordstrom's, and holy cow, I felt like I went to England to go get suited for a suit. They got the tapestry thing, and the guys all taping me off and got the white chalk and all this. These guys are into it, their craft. And the suit came out amazingly. It fits you perfectly. And you got to have a nice suit, especially in the business meetings, or if you're a CEO or a C-suite. When you go to those conferences, everybody judges you from your shoes all the way to the top of your blazer, your jacket. And I really didn't realize that until I get to Southern California and how important and nice to the suit is.
Mark, it's interesting that you say that. So when I was in college, I had the fortune of working at a really high-end men's store. That's kind of how I put myself through college. And I always used to tell people, I said, because especially nowadays, most people don't wear suits. It's something of the past. But I can tell you that when you do have to wear one, the people that wear nice suits, they can tell that you're not wearing one. Because the way it looks, it fits, and you don't need to spend a ton of money either to get a nice suit. So you just have to know where to go and how to do it. But it does make a big difference, especially if you're not a person that has the average dimensions. Like if you're really tall or really short, you need the product to be tailored to you also. So it does make a big difference.
Yeah, I noticed when I started doing these meetings and stuff in California, I started wearing my Nordstrom suit, and then I go meet with my direct client in San Diego. We're doing some stuff, and then my teammates would call me that's your muddy suit. They just know. They look at it, they just knew of the material, the design. Of course, it's a Nordstrom suit. I forget who made it, but it was like $1,000 for that thing.
Yeah, and my advice, you don't need 5, you don't need 3, you really just need one. Make sure it's black or navy, and
black or navy.
You're in good shape.
Black or navy.
You can wear that. You can wear that suit for the rest of your life. Just change the tie, and it's a new tie, new suit.
There you go. But you made an interesting point, though. We're going to a culture where nobody wears suits anymore. They just, it's too stiff. What happened there? What's your thoughts on that?
Of course, we were, and you see it even in uniforms. A lot of our technologies, and I have this conversation with a lot of police chiefs, because one of the challenges that we're having in our country right now is, hiring the people that we need for our police departments. And as you know, this is not something that you just put an ad on the newspaper and you want to be a cop? Yeah, come in. No, it's a tough job. The people that are successful at it and can build a career, they have a call to service more than, that's the fire behind it. So it takes a lot to find the right individual that then you just have to spend money on training, and then they will do a good job. So one of the conversations I always have with the administrators is, what we have noticed is the most innovative uniforms that we make tend to be the stuff that is very comfortable, easy to care for, put it in the washer, put it in the dryer. And I go say, Chief, I love your wool stuff that you're wearing and it looks sharp, but it will be very difficult to get a 20-year-old person to feel comfortable wearing that. Would be very difficult for you to attract, new talent and say, well, that's what we wear here. So I think as, everyday life has become more casual, we have had to bring those innovations also even into the uniforms that our military and police and EMTs wear, so that, you you can perform, because people don't want to be wearing, even if it's a suit, you don't want to be wearing a constructive, restrictive suit. Like we're making right now some blazers, and they are like, they're in research and development right now. They're like 4-way stretch. You can do all type of things with them. But that notion of that blazer that was, perfect and you look perfect, that has gone away because it's just not practical.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's just not practical.
Yeah. And I think as a society, we have, really now gravitated, especially after COVID. I have friends that love, all of our pants are the waist spans, because the assumption is that our customers conceal carry.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're carrying something inside the waist, you want the pants to expand. And people have always told us, man, I just love your pants because it expands. And especially after COVID, I have friends that go like, I spend the whole COVID time wearing sweatpants. Now I'm wearing pants. And if it were not for 511 pants, I don't know what I would do, because I'm transitioning from sweatpants to pants.
It's that cooling weight. It's that 5 to 10 extra pounds. Like, oh crap, where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Yeah.
I know what now. I'm like, if I don't have to go on a business trip, I'm wearing my sweats right now, and they're Adidas sweats, and they're comfortable. And they flex. And I think everybody likes to flex.
Yeah.
They're stretch.
Exactly. And that's what we do. We bring that type of functionality to everyday pants. Like, if you grab our jeans and you pull them, you wouldn't see that they do that, but when you pull them, they stretch. But again, the original reason that we did that was to allow you to comfortably carry an inside the waist holster without you having to wear a pair of pants that were too big for you.
Yep. And I have a pair of your 511s in my suitcase that was packed in my bag on Sunday. And they're sitting right over there like, oh, I should demonstrate them on the podcast. But just for the eyes knows, I do use 511, and they're great. A little plug for 511.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that.
I think it was like, I got the military surplus store over in Medford, and 9% of what they have is 511.
Great to hear that.
Yeah, big. It's not cheap. You get what you pay for. I think it cost me like $80 for those pants, but they're so durable. Take them on the gun range or whatever I'm going to do.
It's interesting that you say that. So when we got in the business, from a business point of view, it looked like this company was going to be a failure. Why?
Wow.
Everything that was in the market was so inexpensive. And everybody that was in the market was innovating around how to make the product for less. But nobody was talking to the end user. People were talking to somebody that was buying uniforms, right? And if my job is to buy uniforms, I want to buy them for the least amount possible. So everybody was trying to make the same uniforms for less. So here we come into the market, and our first the original tactical pants, which had been worn by the FBI for more than 15 years when we came to the market, were costing around $39, which today, those pants, I think they're like around $49 with, cost of living going up. And pants out there were like 20 something. So people had to pay, literally twice as much for a pair of pants. But once people started trying them, they're like, wow, this makes such a big difference. Then around 2011, we engineer a fabric that has this mechanical stretch, repels water, repels oil, and we designed the strike pant with this material. But unfortunately, the technologies that go into that pant makes it an $80-something pair of pants. Just so, but, keeping with our philosophy of like, hey, let's get the right gear for the people in the front lines. We launched it, and people were like, okay, 511, you just went crazy. How in the world are you going to have a pen that costs this much? And once people started wearing the pair of pants, then they started writing, hey, these things are worth every penny.
I would agree.
They last a long time. They allow for range of motion. So, back to what you're saying, this is not like we're charging $80 because, we have an ad in a magazine and we have to pay for the ad. No, it's because, the technologies that go into making those pens make them that much better, but also cost more.
Exactly. And I have to say, you're following, I really didn't realize it until I started working in 2008 in Southern California when I got in the executive protection industry. Everybody I worked with, they wore 511. That's all they wore. I'm like, what's 511? 511, what does that mean? And I was a new kid on the block in Southern California, moving from Oregon. And then I could equate it to the material to what 501 blue jeans used to be. And I remember back in the day, I'd go to JCPenney's, I'd go buy 6 pairs of 501 blue jeans that last me an entire year of school. And they're so, you can wash them as many times, you stretch them out, and the girls like the guys in blue jeans. I have to admit it. So, I was in school in the 80s, and that's the thing that the guys wore, blue jeans and a t-shirt. And Nike shoes. That was the cool thing to wear. But those blue jeans would last forever. They're only $20 back then. Now they're like 80.
Yeah, things have gone up in price, especially in the last few years. Inflation has impacted everything.
So inflation, let's talk about that. I mean, that's affecting gas prices and shipping prices. It's out of control. Being a business owner, we have to hedge against that.
Yeah, no, for sure. At least I would say right now things are stabilizing. I think during COVID, they were very challenging. We could, just shipping costs. You're talking in some cases 10 times as much to ship something. So businesses like us try to charge a bit more for the product, but you couldn't pass those costs to the consumer. So a lot of those costs, went into impacting businesses. Even businesses that increased prices, they still were absorbing a lot of those increases. Then, you also saw prices on raw materials go up, labor going up. We went from being pretty stable when it came to input costs, the things that go into making things and moving things, to a very dynamic, fluid, mostly through inflationary pressure. But I feel, at least right now, for the most part, at least in when it comes to clothing and equipment, for the last 8 months to 6 months, to see things at least being stable. They're higher than where they were. They're more expensive, but you're not seeing swings in prices.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Hey, before we wrap up, could you talk about your ambassador program at 511? It seems like your marketing strategy is very unique, and especially at the SHOT Show. I know Byron's one of your ambassadors, Dean is, Renee is. How does that work? Has that been a positive influence for the market for you guys?
Yeah, we have a very close relationship with our ambassadors, and being a product driven, a lot of our ambassadors are part of that testing process that I was talking about. So yes, these people will go out there and represent the brand, but they are true users of the product. They were all customers before they were ambassadors. They're part of the brand. And then for one reason or another, they have become now ambassadors, but they continue to be a very important source of feedback. So if you think about the type of people that are creating our products here, we have people that are very creative. They know how to engineer a product. They know how to design a product, but most of them don't have a military or police background. So you got to think of them as ghostwriters. Right. They can write the best story ever, but they need to hear the story from you. So the ambassadors play an important role in the word testing and giving direct feedback into the creative engine of 511.
People are wondering what an ambassador is. They just wear your clothing while they do their training, maybe on YouTube. It might be like Byron. He does a lot of stuff like bodyguard training over there. Shout out to him. And Renee, she's also out there doing her things for women's self-defense stuff. It's just, so they just basically wear your material when they do stuff.
Yeah, and think about it, Mark. Like, we will have catalogs and we will have photo shoots. So rather than hiring, models that have nothing to do with our industry, why not, have people that do use the equipment, and when you're doing a photo shoot, they will put things in the right places and they will show you, how they use it in real life, or if we had an event, for example, instead of having a whole bunch of models that have no idea about what they're wearing, you have people that are wearing the product and are talking about, what they like, how they use the systems. If you think about a lot of what we sell, you can highly customize your bags to your own mission. And you can now pair that with the type of apparel, the type of jackets, and all these things. So how do you bring it all together? Maybe different for every mission. Have people that have that expertise makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's a very powerful program. I noticed that, especially with Byron, he started doing plugs with you. Then like for Dave and Dean, especially Dean. I think you guys helped him design his book cover or something like that, is what he said.
Well, we have a nice ecosystem here. We're so fortunate to be part of this industry. We serve amazing people. Again, like I tell people that are not in this industry, just imagine, our athletes, they put it all on the line to protect our communities, protect our countries. And most of these people do it because they have a call to service. Is really, they could have any other job they wanted to, but they do this particular career because they have the sense to protect, to serve.
Yeah, that's great. Genius marketing by your team there to even think about how to do that and get to push that product out. Yeah, congratulations on the 20 years of being in business, and congrats to your leadership leading the organization over there. That's a big pinnacle to cross over.
Well, thank you, Mark. I'm personally on a constant improvement journey. It keeps me going, and I feel my team is the same way. We have a culture of learning and supporting each other, and knowing that we have to grow as individuals, we have to grow as a team. In order for us to be able to provide the best products and services to our consumers.
Thanks appreciate that. And audience, as we wrap this up, thanks for tuning in. And Francisco, you have any parting words to the audience that listen to the podcast?
Yeah, we'd love to, thank everybody for listening in. If you have not been to a 511 store and you're traveling, if there's one near you, there's no better way to experience the brand. Our staff at the store, our team members, they're very product knowledgeable. So swing by, have a conversation, and get to know the brand. I mean, we do spend a lot of time making products that make a difference on the field, especially if you are in any type of security, executive detail, protection detail, or you're just a desk jockey like myself who likes, to be ready.
Thanks, Francisco. And for the audience listening in, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Mark Ledlow, and subscribe to that and hit that bell also, and hit the bell also on LinkedIn. And I'm also on Twitter. We'll be doing this on Twitter, and I'm on my Instagram channel, be Mark Ledlow, and I think we'll be working with Francisco's marketing team to put this on Instagram as well, so we can get this out. So thanks for tuning in, folks, and please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and all the other platforms on the podcast are held on, so we can continue to bring guests in like Francisco on that want to share their story of what it takes to run a 511 empire. And thanks for tuning in, folks, and thanks for your time. I will catch you on the next podcast, and we'll see you soon.